Hello everyone, and welcome to EBACE Connect. Thank you for taking a portion of your day to learn with us. Please note, public chat is open. We encourage you to interact with your peers as you enjoy the session. This session is being recorded and will be available to watch on demand 24 hours after it concludes in the EBACE Connect platform. And with that, let's get started.
Hello and welcome to EBACE Connect. I'm Ed Bolen with NBAA, welcoming you to very special programming today. We have our first ever town hall with CEOs where we get a chance to discuss everything from the pandemic to the future of business aviation. Today's program is sponsored by Bombardier, Defforge, Embraer, and Gulfstream. And now I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Athar Husain from EBAA.
Thanks, Ed. We asked leaders at the top companies in business aviation what they've learned during this exceptional year, the opportunities and challenges they see as our industry emerges from the pandemic, and what excites them most in this pivotal moment we're going through. And joining us for this today are Michael Amalfitano, President and CEO of Embraer, Markus Bucher, CEO of Pilatus Aircraft, Mark Burns, CEO of Gulfstream, Benoit Defforge, President of ACJ, James Detwiler, President Boeing Business Jets, Ron Draper, President and CEO of Textron Aviation, Didier Kayat, CEO of Daher, Éric Martel, President and Chief Executive Officer of Bombardier, and Éric Trappier, President and CEO of Dassault Aviation. Now with that, let's go to our first question.
As a CEO of Dassault Aviation, like all my colleagues, we were not really prepared for such a pandemic crisis. So we had to adapt ourselves, and I think that number one is the reality was that we could adapt ourselves to this big crisis. And thanks to the digital tools, we were able to continue the work from home with video conferences. But at the same time, we were ready to organize ourselves with a safe protocol to be back at work, to deliver our aircraft and to continue to support worldwide our fleet of Falcon or our fleet of fighter aircraft.
We made the conscious decision about a year ago to become a pure play business jet company, which we are today. And you know, this was not without pain last year. Everybody understand, you know, what we all went through together. We needed at first to take care of the safety of our people. You know, we're running all those factory, our supplier chain, our customer, to make sure we can serve the customer. So that was a challenging time for all of us, and we were restructuring our business at the same time at Bombardier.
The first thing that we learn is how much we really miss seeing our customers face to face. This is where our relationships are consolidated, and we successfully adapted to the new norms. We know that was a difficult year for everyone, but another things we learn is that the private aviation industry is quite resilient.
You know, this was an extreme change where the economy and business travel just kind of shut down almost overnight. And so our success plan really got focused on three elements. That was the health and safety of our employees and our customers. How do we continue to be operate as a business, so business continuity of running this business around the world, and then making sure that we're good stewards of everything we've been given. And that means not only being cost stewards, but continuing to invest even through tough times. We were fortunate because we're a manufacturing company to be considered critical infrastructure in the US, and we never really had to close, but we did create a great remote work environment for thousands.
We have seen a significant increase in interest from a very important segment of our customer population, and that is the charter business. I've read reports that over 1 million people for the first time traveled on private jets in the year 2020, and they now see the value of chartering a private jet for both work and leisure purposes.
During the pandemic period, business aviation fared very well, and the industry has proven to be resilient. Business aviation, as you know, presents less touch points to its users, so in turn, we have seen more first-time buyers than ever before, while corporations are also experiencing renewed interest in private aviation. Throughout this crisis, health and safety has been a top priority for Embraer, for our customers, for our employees, and for our stakeholders.
We actually, identified this last summer in the middle of the pandemic, this need of people to travel, but how do we do it safely, and how do I take my family on a trip? And we launched a marketing campaign, a Sky campaign called A Different Sky Awaits. And it was the idea just to try to reach people that hadn't considered chartering an airplane or purchasing an aircraft in the past. And how do we reach them and explain the value that we can provide to their travel experience or to their productivity? That campaign was very well received. And since that time, I think we're all seeing the industry data of new entrants coming into private aviation.
We started to talk about this in April last year, that a lot of people will probably shift towards using business jet more than commercial, feeling safer about traveling. And it's actually happening. So a year ago, this was just a theory, I would say, but it became through the year. I'm confident that if we do a good job together as a community, that we will attract a lot of new people and they will stay in our business.
People started to reassess their situation, and I think a lot of people now understand the value of business aviation and general aviation. I think you see a lot more interested parties in ownership. So I think that for us, we've had a number of first-time buyers that have not owned airplanes before. They may have chartered or owned fractional or something of that nature, but first-time buyers of full airplanes really come back into the market in the third and fourth quarter, and that transitioned over into 2021 as well.
Well, we had two different newcomers in our two ranges of product. On the TBM, we had newcomers coming mainly for the home safety issue. So I guess that safety everywhere should be a key driver for the industry. On the other hand, for the Kodiak, being a family-owned company with a long-term vision, was a bit reassuring for new customers on buying this fantastic plane, being sure that we will be here in 50 years from now.
You can traverse 3 cities in one day, disclose your personal business on a private jet, and securely work on confidential materials in flight, whereas you do not have that option when flying commercial.
The cabin altitude as you fly a 10-hour mission, you just don't have jet lag and fatigue the way that you may have in the past. The health, the fresh air in the airplanes being replenished constantly, and that cabin altitude just physiologically make a better trip. There may even be some secular shift of business aviation to more of a requirement for people when you think about safety and security and health and the number of things that our products provide. I think people are starting to understand more than ever the value of business aviation.
We have many product customer groups like CJP or Bonanza Society, and they're very, very active and vocal in advocating for the use of general aviation and airports and airspace. They're very strong in advocating for the safety and safety in the operation, the design of the new products that we're coming out with. Many of our strong and large customers, whether they're charter, fractional, or memberships, NetJets, Wheels Up, Fly Exclusive, Thrive Aviation, they're also very vocal in advocating for the industry.
As Vice Chairman for Gamma and Vice Chairman for MBAA's Advisory Council and member of the Board of Directors of these associations, I'm very active in the process of encouraging aircraft owners to become strong advocates for business aviation. These associations do an incredible job advocating and recognize the importance of speaking up to influence policymakers about the true value of private aircraft. In fact, reports from business aviation associations have found that employees using business aviation increase productive work time by 150% during private flights when compared to commercial flights.
We have dedicated meetings with our customers in order to be helped to support the development of business jets. They talk to us during NBA or during EBACE to have some good declarations to show how much it is really cost effective to get a Falcon to travel and to be able to continue to work in flight.
Challenges include, those inherent to the pandemic, the different quarantine restrictions you have with different requirements and durations. And then, of course, the continued challenge of not being able to visit with our customers in person, which is really crucial for that aspect of our business.
The biggest challenge that we have got is supply chain disruption. I think that is, for us, definitely was the reason why we were forced to shut down the company, as long as the supply chain was down as well, for roughly 2.5 months. And we look at supply chain also differently into the future on whether our sourcing strategy is right, or whether we would have to amend the sourcing strategy as well, as currently the single biggest risk in our business is supply chain.
We're starting to see supply constraints, and we're starting to see inflation in raw materials, in metals, etc. So I think the industry is going to experience a supply chain tightening in the months and maybe a year or two ahead, as that supply chain, which may have lost capacity during the pandemic era, now as orders pick up and that demand picks up, they may not have enough people. And then we're going to see just inflation that's occurring in the economy in general hitting those metals. And so I think we're going to face that supply chain tightening.
My major concern is knowledge that we have, different knowledge in Europe and in North America, in particular as we are in Part 23. There's very limited knowledge in Europe available, and you have some sort of different standards between EASA and FAA. So if I would like to see a closer merge between the two organizations, between FAA and the EASA, so that we do not have to fulfill both standards as an OEM.
Certification authorities have always been partners by engaging and providing guidance early in our developments. Through the pandemic period, we started seeing the use of remote collaborative technologies to allow virtual testing and inspections. We believe that this will likely continue, helping to reduce costs and speeding up the entire approval process. We continue to see the bilateral certification validation programs without jeopardizing the current high standards of safety as fundamental to the success of our businesses.
Here in Europe, with EASA, and there in the US with the FAA, these constraints and these standards could be together to certify our aircrafts. I think that our associations in this part of the world, as well as in the US or everywhere else, should work together to support the job of ICAO to have a kind of universal standards, whether it is environment, whether it is the rules for aviation, whether it is the rules for certification with right agencies, and so on.
So I would just encourage the regulators that are out there, the OEMs that are out there, we need to get on the same page and work together and have predictable paths to bring this to market, because our goal is to bring better products to market as fast as possible.
During this crisis, we had excellent relationships with both EASA and the FAA. They have been very helpful and supportive, and I would like more to thank them than to criticize them, because they have been very efficient despite all the limitation of contact that we had. We have on our business segment, the CS23, new certification amendment that need to be more taken into account by the industry, not by the regulators, because there is a huge improvement and benefits that can be taken out of that. and that should be taken out of that. So I'm very positive about regulation, despite the context.
Airbus was built on diversity. It was the first European company having people from different cultures working together. Then Airbus became a worldwide company. Today, we are proud to have 140 nationalities and 20 languages spoken across our sites. So we are experienced and we know the values of this diversity.
Within our own BBJ team, we have over a dozen different nationalities. We have the full spectrum of the age, gender, and various service background, to include veterans, on our team. And we celebrate that diversity because it brings a lot of different perspectives to all of our conversations. And we feel that that is crucial considering our global disbursement of our customer population. And so we seek first to understand that diversity. We better understand our customer set as well.
Simply what we are interested in is the best person suitable to the job, and that's the person we hire, regardless of whether male, female, or black or white or any other color. It just doesn't matter. I think that's very important for us to make sure that we have got the best talent in our organization.
I still believe that Dassault is able to gather workforce from the young generations to come to us and to have engineering jobs, to have mechanician jobs, to have integration jobs. We strongly support the capability to integrate, for example, more female staffing, because we still, being an aviation company, aeronautical company, we don't have the right percentage, I would say, for women to come into our jobs. So it's something we are supporting a lot in order to have a better balance in the future.
We understand the importance of workplace diversity and the need to increase the number of women and minorities in the industry.
Being a more diversified company also, I think, is going to make us very strong, much stronger to be able to attract the best talent. You know, we're very fortunate here in Montreal, actually, because we have a huge pool of good university. But you know what I like about the university in Montreal is a lot of people come from different countries to come and study here. So that creates that opportunity for us that we really want to capture, because you know people bring new perspective, new talent, new idea, and I think this is what's going to make us more successful.
At Pilatus, we train 13 different trades as apprentices in the organization, roughly 150 people every 1 year, in order to actually feed young talents into our industry. I think everybody who is in that industry should invest into training. Flying is a dream come true, and that was in the history and in the past, and it will be the same for the future. I think we have more to push in that direction with offering interesting careers and interesting technology and interesting jobs in an industry that is a global industry.
It is important to emphasize our industry is more than just pilots, mechanics, technicians. It's engineers, accountants, specialists, programmers, public relations, and business management specialists. And we need to find new ways to attract people to our continually evolving industry. The aviation industry encompasses multiple career paths and is an attractive industry with exciting new technologies. From augmented reality to 3D printing, advanced manufacturing, and 3D robotics, to new hybrid and electrical propulsion systems, autonomous flight, and even cybersecurity.
We have decided at Athar to increase our R&D investment despite the crisis, because we do consider that these very complex competencies need to be secured during the crisis to have a better rebound tomorrow. But not only that, we are rethinking the whole manufacturing process, because we have to be more flexible, we have to more integrate the whole supply chain in the way we do build the plane, but also all the end-to-end solutions.
Our vision is to bring new capabilities that will deliver values to our customers while pioneering sustainable aviation through innovation. Airbus could enlarge our door-to-door solution to our customers by integrating the latest advances in urban air mobility.
I'm always amazed that there's a very few people that know today in our industry that sustainable fuel exists, first of all. So I think as an industry group, we can definitely promote this more and more in the existing community and probably on the community that has a potential to join us. So clearly there's effort to be taken there. And after that, I think the effort is about availability of those sustainable fuel that are possible to be used on pretty much every single airplane.
We at Airbus have always been committed to leading the decarbonization of our industry. Our ambition is to be the first to bring a zero-emission aircraft to the market by 2035. ACJ, of course, is part of this strategy and will benefit from the Airbus technology breakthrough. Then, we believe that SAF has the potential to become a major driver for CO2 reduction.
Really being able to offer in a short-term period of time greener aircraft, taking into account all that global warming environment, is a huge opportunity. We have to reinvent our business. We have to be responsible. You have to be pioneers again. I mean, aviation has always been a business of pioneers.
Every airplane that we've built in the last 20 years is more efficient, and more efficient in a number of ways, not just in the fuel that we burn and the efficiency of engines, but the aerodynamic efficiency. Many of the systems that we've built, like synthetic vision and things of that nature that help the airplane be more efficient, not just safer, but more efficient, are huge contributors to that sustainability effort. And we've actually carried it over into manufacturing as well, eliminating waste as we build airplanes. Because of 3D modeling and some of the robotic tooling that we use today, you can build a wing virtually defect-free now with virtually no waste.
Net, this industry is going to be up, in my opinion, from where it was pre-pandemic. And so that's exciting for the whole industry. And that means we're capturing those new entrants. A lot of them have started in the jet card or rent by the hour programs, but we all know that ends up at some point with some percentage of them deciding they want to move into whole aircraft ownership as well.
So the pandemic was challenging last year, but I think it has created for our industry an amazing opportunity looking forward. As border reopen, we probably anticipate a bit of a surge in when border reopen all at the same time.
We know that more than 80% of the people who can afford flying private are not doing so. We observed during the pandemic that some of these individuals or corporations are starting to fly privately. This is very good news for our industry. It is highlighting how much business aviation is bringing freedom to fly with whoever you want from point to point in a safe and comfortable way.
The outlook for aviation is strong. We only need to look at our ultra-high net worth individual customer set and see that they've weathered the financial challenges of the pandemic, and also the significant amount of first-time travelers in charter business jet operations, over 1 million new passengers in 2020 alone, to know that the outlook is very strong.
I'm optimistic that the industry is going to see increased demand and favorable days ahead.
And that concludes our lightning round with the CEOs, an opportunity for you to hear from the people who have their finger on the pulse of our industry at this pivotal time. Now, Athar, over to you.
Thanks to all of you for being with us. Thank you to our panel, our esteemed CEO guests. And thanks to our co-sponsors for this roundtable keynote, Bombardier, Daher Aircraft, Embraer, and Gulfstream. Thank you for making this discussion possible. Stay with us as we dive further into the trends and innovations we explored with these leaders. Coming up next at EBACE Connect, we have a session on sustainability. We'll hear from experts on how ready business aviation is for hydrogen or electrification. And then later on, we have a session on safety and new technologies. See you then.